I need you, please, I'm horny.
Camille stared at the text she'd just sent, her thumb hovering over her phone screen. The bedroom was dark, except for the pale glow of her device, casting shadows across the expensive silk sheets that felt more like a shroud than comfort. Beside her, the other half of the bed lay empty and cold. Had been empty for 3 nights now. Park Ji-hoon was working late again. Always working late. She set the phone face down on her nightstand and rolled onto her back, staring at the ceiling of their Gangnam penthouse. When was the last time Ji-hoon had touched her? Really touched her, with tenderness, with desire? She couldn't remember. And now she needed her husband so bad. Camille's phone buzzed, pulling her from the memory. She grabbed it eagerly. Room 1205, Grand Joseon Hotel. 1 hour. Come. Her heart leapt. He'd responded. He actually responded. And with more than his usual dismissive text. Maybe he'd remembered. Maybe tonight could be different. She threw off the covers and rushed to the bathroom, turning on the shower. As steam filled the room, she caught her reflection in the mirror and paused. When had she started looking so tired? Her dark skin, once glowing, looked dull. Her hair, natural and beautiful, was pulled back in the same messy bun she'd worn for days. She stepped into the shower and let the hot water wash away the questions. Hope bloomed in her chest. Fragile, desperate hope. Maybe Ji-hoon was finally making an effort. Maybe he'd planned something romantic. Maybe tonight was the night things would change. She shaved her legs carefully, washed her hair with the expensive shampoo Ji-hoon preferred, exfoliated her skin until it glowed. She took her time, wanting to be perfect for him. An hour. She had an hour. Camille stood outside room 1205. Her hand raised to knock. She changed into a simple, sexy black dress that revealed her cleavages and curves. She'd done her makeup carefully, hoping Ji-hoon would notice, would see she was trying. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Her heart hammered. Maybe this was his way of surprising her. Maybe he'd planned something romantic and this was his version of spontaneity. God knew he was terrible at romance, but maybe... She knocked. Come in. It's open. The voice made her pause. Was that Ji-hoon? It sounded deeper, rougher. Maybe he had a cold. She pushed the door open and stepped inside. The man on the couch was not her husband. He was shirtless, lean muscle visible in the lamplight, a cigarette dangling from his fingers. His hair was dark and pushed back carelessly, and an expensive watch caught the light as he raised the cigarette to his lips with a dragon tattoo on his hot chest. His eyes, dark, intense, dangerous, locked onto her immediately. He wasn't conventionally handsome, but there was something magnetic about him. Power radiated from him like heat, the kind of man who commanded rooms, without saying a word. You're late, he said, his voice deep and smooth. I said 1 hour. Camille's mouth went dry. Her hand found the doorframe, steadying herself. I'm sorry, I think there's been a mistake. The man stood slowly, setting his cigarette in an ashtray. He was taller than she'd thought, easily 6 feet, his presence filling the space between them. He walked toward her with the confidence of someone who'd never been refused anything in his life. Each step was deliberate, predatory almost. A mistake? He stopped a few feet away, studying her face with unsettling intensity. His eyes traveled from her face, down her body, and back up. Not leering, but assessing. You texted me. You said you needed me, that you were horny. The crude word sounded almost elegant in his accent. I don't ignore a woman who says that. Camille's face burned with mortification. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh God, oh my God. I'm so sorry. That text was meant for my husband. I saved your number wrong or... But you came? He tilted his head, still watching her. You're here, in front of me. You got dressed. Put on makeup. Perfume. He took a step closer, and she could smell his cologne now. Expensive, masculine, intoxicating. You came to this hotel room thinking you'd find a man who wanted you. Because I thought you were him. I thought... She was backing toward the door now, her hand searching for the handle. I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. I should go. Wait. Something in his voice made her freeze. It wasn't commanding, exactly. More like a request that somehow carried the weight of an order. He stepped closer, close enough that she could see the slight stubble on his jaw, the way his chest rose and fell with each breath. Close enough to see a thin scar above his left eyebrow, another along his collarbone. Close enough to feel the heat radiating from his skin. What's your name? He asked softly. Camille. It came out as barely a whisper. Camille. He said it slowly, like he was tasting it, learning the shape of it in his mouth. I'm Kwon Jae-sung. He paused, then added with devastating honesty, and you've done something to me. She swallowed hard, her throat suddenly dry. What do you mean? You've turned me on. His eyes never left hers. So what are we going to do about that? Camille's breath caught. She should leave. She should run. But something kept her rooted to the spot, the way he looked at her. Like she was the only thing in the room, like she mattered. Like she was visible for the first time in years. When was the last time someone had looked at her like that? I'm married, she managed to say, holding up her left hand to show the ring. I know, you said the text was for your husband. Jae-sung reached up, and for a terrifying moment she thought he was going to touch her. But he only gestured to the couch. Sit, talk to me for a moment. I should go. You should, he agreed, his lips curving into a slight smile. But you won't. He was right. God help her. He was right. She found herself moving to the couch, perching on the edge, while Jae-sung sat across from her, still shirtless, still devastating. He picked up his cigarette, took a drag, then seemed to think better of it and put it out. You don't smoke, do you? He asked. No. Then I won't either. While you're here? Such a small gesture. But it felt monumental. Jae-sung's jaw tightened. When was the last time he touched you? That's personal. Everything about this situation is personal, Camille. His voice was gentle but firm. You sent a text begging for attention, for physical connection. That's not the message of a woman who's satisfied at home. Tears pricked her eyes. She blinked them back furiously. You don't know anything about my marriage? Then tell me I'm wrong. He leaned back, giving her space. Tell me your husband touches you. Wants you. Makes you feel desired. Tell me you're here by accident and not because some part of you was desperate for anyone to notice you. A tear escaped despite her efforts. She wiped it away angrily. Stop. When was the last time someone looked at you like you were wanted? He asked quietly. The question cracked something inside her. Camille felt more tears spring to her eyes and hated herself for it. She stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. I have to go. I'm sorry I wasted your time. This time he didn't stop her. But as she reached the door, his voice followed her. Camille. She turned despite herself. When you're ready to stop apologizing for needing something, he said, his eyes dark and knowing, you have my number. Welcome to Soul Afro Stories, where we explore the complex, passionate, and sometimes painful realities of love, identity, and survival. If you were Camille, desperate and alone in that hotel room after sending that text to the wrong number, would you have stayed? Or would you have run the moment you realized your mistake? Drop your answer in the comments below. I want to know what you would have done. And tell me, where are you watching from? If you're already hooked on Camille's story and you need to know what happens next, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. Trust me, you're going to want to see where this goes. Now, let's get back to the story. Camille fled the hotel like she was running from a crime scene. The night air hit her face as she stood on the sidewalk, trying to catch her breath, trying to understand what had just happened. A wrong number, a stupid, careless mistake. And yet, she could still feel the weight of Jae-sung's gaze on her skin, could still hear his question echoing. When was the last time someone looked at you like you were wanted? She pulled out her phone to call for a car and saw the message thread. Horror washed over her as she realized her mistake. She missed a number as she had too much to drink while she tried to drink away her pains. Oh God, she whispered to herself. The drive home was a blur. She kept seeing Jae-sung's face, kept feeling the dangerous pull of his attention. The way he'd looked at her, really looked at her. The way he'd listened when she spoke. The way he'd put out his cigarette just because she didn't smoke. Such small things. But when you'd been invisible for years, even small acts of consideration felt monumental. It terrified her. It thrilled her. It made her feel things she had no right to feel. By the time she reached their apartment, it was nearly midnight. Ji-hoon still wasn't home. She stood in their pristine living room, all white marble and designer furniture, and not a single personal touch, and felt the emptiness pressed down on her like a physical weight. Her phone buzzed. Working all night. Don't wait up. Ji-hoon, Camille walked to the bedroom, peeled off her dress, and climbed into bed. Alone. Again. She pulled Ji-hoon's pillow to her chest, breathing in his scent. Expensive cologne and something uniquely him. She'd done this so many times, pretending he was there, pretending she wasn't so desperately lonely. She closed her eyes and tried not to think about a hotel room, a half-naked man, and the feeling of being seen for the first time in years. She failed. And when sleep finally came, she dreamed of dark eyes and dangerous smiles and the question that echoed in her mind. When was the last time someone looked at you like you were wanted? 2 days later. This is too salty. Ji-hoon pushed his plate away from him. Barely 3 bites taken from the galbatang Camille had spent 2 hours preparing. I'm sorry, Camille said automatically, reaching for the bowl. I'll make something else. Don't bother. I'll eat at the office. He was already standing, straightening his tie in the hallway mirror. I have a late meeting anyway. Another late meeting. Camille had stopped counting them weeks ago. Ji-hoon? She followed him to the door, wiping her hands on a dish towel. We haven't had dinner together in almost 2 weeks. Could I maybe what? He turned to face her, and the coldness in his eyes made her step back. Come home early to eat your mediocre cooking. I have a company to run, Camille. I have responsibilities. Not all of us can sit around the apartment all day doing nothing. The word stung. I do things. I clean, I cook, You exist, he interrupted. That's what you do. You exist in this apartment that I pay for, eating food that I buy, wearing clothes that I purchased. You contribute nothing. I could get a job, she offered quietly. It wasn't the first time she'd suggested it. I could work, contribute financially, or maybe I could start painting again. And embarrass me? Have people asking why my wife needs to work? He laughed, the sound devoid of humor. You're here to be my wife. That's your job. And lately, you're not even doing that well. The words hit like a slap. What does that mean? It means you're worthless, Camille. He said it matter-of-factly, like he was commenting on the weather. You satisfy nothing. You can't cook properly. You barely keep this place clean. And when I do come home, you're either sulking or trying to paw at me like a desperate animal. I don't care what you wanted. I gave you everything. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to something cold and cruel. A home, a life, papers that let you stay in this country legally. Do you understand what that means? Without me, you'd be back in the United States, where you were deported, or in South Africa, living in some shack, probably married to some broke farmer. I saved you from that. I am your God here. Don't forget that. He left, the door closing with a soft click that sounded like a cell door locking. Camille stood frozen in the hallway. Her hands were shaking. She looked down at them, these hands that used to create art, that used to paint beauty, and saw them trembling like leaves. She walked back to the dining room and stared at the rejected meal. 2 hours of work, dismissed in 3 bites. She'd followed the recipe exactly, had tasted it herself. It wasn't too salty. It was perfect. But nothing she did was ever good enough for him. No, her phone was on the table. She picked it up. The text was from a familiar number. Her thumb hovered over the delete button. She should erase it. Forget the whole embarrassing incident. Never think about that hotel room again. Never think about how he'd looked at her, how he'd made her feel seen. Instead, she closed her phone and went to clean up dinner. She scraped the rejected food into the trash, washed the dishes, wiped down the counters until everything gleamed. Then she went to the bedroom, opened her closet, and pulled out a box from the back. Inside were her old art supplies. Canvases, brushes, paints she hadn't touched in 3 years. She pulled out a half-finished painting, an abstract piece in blues and golds that she'd started during her first month in Seoul. She remembered Ji-hoon's reaction when he'd seen her painting in the spare room. Put that away. This isn't a studio. It's our home. She'd packed everything up that day. Hadn't painted since. Camille ran her fingers over the dried paint, feeling something ache in her chest. She missed this. Missed creating. Missed the feeling of bringing something beautiful into the world. She put the box back and climbed into bed. Tomorrow, she decided. Tomorrow she would try harder. Be better. Make Ji-hoon see her again. Tomorrow. 1 week later, the pattern continued. Ji-hoon came home late, or not at all. When he was home, he was cold, critical, distant. Camille found herself walking on eggshells, trying to anticipate his moods, trying to be perfect. She was always trying. She was never enough. She'd started noticing things. Small things at first, the faint smell of perfume on his collar that wasn't her scent, a smudge of lipstick on his shirt cuff, receipts from restaurants she'd never been to. She told herself she was being paranoid, told herself there were explanations, told herself to trust him. But the evidence kept accumulating. On Thursday night, she tried something different. She'd gone to a boutique in Apgujeong and spent money she probably shouldn't have on new lingerie. Black lace, delicate, beautiful. She'd gotten her hair done, had her nails done. She'd lit candles in the bedroom and waited. When Ji-hoon came home at 10:30, she was waiting, wearing the lingerie under a silk robe. He looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in weeks. For a moment, she thought she saw something flicker in his eyes. Interest, maybe, or hunger. "What's all this?" he asked, loosening his tie. I wanted to do something nice. For us." She stood, the silk robe falling open slightly to reveal the lingerie beneath. "It's been a while since we... Not tonight." He walked past her toward the closet, barely glancing at her. "I'm exhausted." "Ji-hoon, please." She followed him, hating the pleading in her voice, but unable to stop it. "It's been over 4 months since we've been intimate. I miss you. I miss us." "There is no us, Camille. There's me, and there's you living in my house." The cruelty of the words made her flinch. "That's not fair. I'm your wife." "And whose fault is that?" He turned to face her, and there was disgust in his expression. "You're not even trying to be attractive anymore, Camille. You've let yourself go. Look at you. You've lost weight. You look tired all the time. You're constantly moping around." "I'm tired because I'm lonely," she said, the words breaking free before she could stop them. "I'm tired because my husband won't touch me, won't talk to me, barely looks at me. Don't you dare make this my fault." His voice was low and dangerous. He stepped closer, backing her against the wall. I gave you a life. I saved you after you were deported from the United States, from going back to your shithole country with nothing. The least you could do is be grateful instead of constantly demanding my attention like a spoiled child. I am grateful, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. But I'm also human. I have needs, then deal with them yourself. He pulled off his tie and threw it on a chair. I'm going to sleep in the guest room. I can't deal with your neediness tonight. He left her, standing there in her expensive lingerie and flickering candles, feeling more naked and exposed than if she'd been stripped bare. Camille slid down the wall, sitting on the floor in her beautiful lingerie, and sobbed. She cried for the marriage she'd wanted, for the love she'd hoped would grow, for the person she used to be before. Jihoon slowly dismantled her piece by piece. When she finally stopped crying, she stood up, blew out the candles, and went to the bathroom. She washed her face, scrubbing away the makeup she'd so carefully applied. She looked at herself in the mirror, eyes red and swollen, skin blotchy from crying. You're worthless, she whispered to her reflection, echoing Jihoon's words. You satisfy nothing. She went to bed alone and didn't sleep. At 2:47 a.m., Camille sat up in bed, her phone in her hands. She'd been lying there for hours, staring at the ceiling, feeling the emptiness crush her. She opened her messages and stared at the blank screen. Then, before she could overthink it, she typed, "Are you awake?" She sent it to Mr. Kwon. The response came within seconds. I am now, and I'm surprised to hear from you, Camille. Her heart was racing. This was wrong. This was dangerous. She should stop. You shouldn't be texting a married woman at this hour. Then why did you reply? She stared at the message, unable to answer because the truth was too complicated, too raw, too desperate. 3 dots appeared. Then, Café Lumineux, 9 a.m., breakfast. Come. She looked at the message for a long time. Then she looked at the guest room door where her husband slept, not giving a damn whether she was lonely or hurting or suffocating. She didn't respond to Jae Sung's message, but she didn't delete it either. And she didn't sleep. The next morning. Meanwhile, across the city, in a luxury hotel suite at the Four Seasons, Jihoon rolled over in bed, his arm wrapping around the woman sleeping beside him. Yuna stirred, pressing back against him. Morning already? Not yet, he murmured, kissing her shoulder. Sleep more. But Yuna turned to face him, her perfectly made-up face, even at dawn, smiling seductively. She was beautiful in the way Korean society valued. Pale skin, delicate features, doe eyes, rail-thin body. Everything Camille wasn't. I can't sleep when you're here, she purred, running her fingers down his chest. I want to make the most of our time. Jihoon kissed her, deeply, passionately, in a way he never kissed his wife. You're insatiable. Only with you. She straddled him, her silk nightgown riding up. When are you going to leave her? I'm getting tired of hotel rooms. I want to wake up with you every morning. Jihoon's hands gripped her hips. Soon, baby. I promise. I just need to secure a few more business deals first. The divorce has to be handled carefully. You know how these things work. Yuna pouted prettily. You've been saying soon for months now. I mean it this time. He pulled her down for another kiss. You're the one I want, you know that. Camille, she's just a mistake I need to correct. What if I told you I could help? Yuna sat up, her expression turning calculating. Actually, I've been meaning to tell you. My uncle, he's a very big fish. Very powerful. I could introduce you, connect you with him. He could open doors for you that would set you up for life. Jihoon's eyes lit up with interest. Your uncle? What's his name? Kwon Jae-sung. He's a big fish in the underworld. Major player in Seoul's business scene. She traced her finger along his jaw. I haven't told him about us yet. He's very traditional about family stuff. Very protective of me. But once I do, once I explain how serious we are, I know he'll help you. He'll want me to be happy. Ji-hoon pulled her close, his mind already racing with possibilities. Kwon Jae-sung. He'd heard that name in business circles. Connected. Powerful. Wealthy beyond measure. You're amazing, he said, kissing her deeply. This could change everything for us. So you'll leave her? Soon? Very soon, Ji-hoon promised. Let me meet your uncle first, get some deals in motion. Then I'll file for divorce. I'll give Camille some money to go back to Los Angeles or the United States where she was deported or wherever she wants to go, and we can finally be together properly. Eunice smiled, satisfied. I can't wait. They made love again as the sun rose over Seoul, Ji-hoon imagining his future. A beautiful Korean wife, powerful connections, unlimited success. Everything he'd always wanted. Camille never even crossed his mind. Meanwhile, Ji-hoon left for work at 7 without saying goodbye to Camille, without even looking at her. Camille sat at the kitchen table, still in her robe, coffee going cold in front of her. The apartment was so quiet she could hear her own breathing. So quiet she could hear her own heartbeat. So quiet she could hear herself slowly disappearing. She picked up her phone. 8:47 a.m. Café Lumineux, 13 minutes away. She shouldn't go. She was married. She'd made vows, made promises. Even if Ji-hoon treated her like property, even if he made her feel worthless, she'd committed to this marriage, to him. I gave you everything. I am your God here. His words from last night echoed in her mind. But gods were supposed to love their creations, weren't they? Gods were supposed to cherish what they made. Gods were supposed to be kind. Ji-hoon didn't love her. He owned her. There was a difference. At 8:52, Camille stood up and walked to the bedroom. She opened her closet and pulled out a simple cream dress. Nothing special, nothing revealing, just something that made her feel pretty. She showered quickly, did her makeup, subtle but pretty, just enough to look alive. She brushed her hair out, letting it fall in natural waves around her shoulders. At 8:58, she called for a car. At 9:07, she walked through the doors of Café Lumineux. It was a small place, tucked away on a quiet street in Samcheong-dong. Private, discreet. The kind of place where people had conversations they didn't want overheard. Soft jazz played from hidden speakers. The lighting was warm, intimate. Kwon Jae-sung was already there. He stood when she entered, and Camille felt her breath catch. He was dressed impeccably. Charcoal suit perfectly tailored to his frame, crisp white shirt, no tie. His hair was styled, but still had that careless edge. He looked like money and danger and everything she shouldn't want. You came, he said, and there was genuine surprise in his voice. I shouldn't have, but you did. He gestured to the seat across from him. Why? She sat down slowly, setting her purse beside her. A server appeared instantly, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, pouring coffee from a silver carafe. She disappeared before Camille could even say thank you. I don't know, Camille admitted, wrapping her hands around the warm cup. I don't know why I'm here. Yes, you do. Jae-sung leaned back in his chair, studying her with that same intense focus from the hotel room. You're here and because something in your life isn't right. And you're looking for something that is... You don't know anything about my life. Then tell me. He took a sip of coffee, his eyes never leaving hers. What does a married woman need at 3 a.m? The question hung between them. Camille looked down at her hands, at the platinum wedding band that suddenly felt like a shackle. To feel human, she said quietly. I needed to feel human. And your husband can't give you that? She looked up sharply. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Jae-sung leaned forward, elbows on the table. You don't know me. No, he agreed. But I'd like to. The server returned with food. A spread of pastries, fruit, elegant breakfast dishes that Camille hadn't ordered. She realized Jae-sung must have arranged everything in advance, had been that confident she'd come. Tell me about Seoul, he said, breaking a croissant in half. How long have you been here? 4 years? And you like it? She paused, considering the question honestly for the first time. Did she like it? I don't know. I never really got to see much of it. My husband, he keeps me pretty sheltered. Sheltered or isolated. The accuracy of the word made her flinch. Tell me what you did before. Jae-sung continued gently. Before Seoul. Before marriage. I was an artist. The words felt strange on her tongue, like claiming an identity that no longer belonged to her. I studied art in Los Angeles. Painting mostly. Abstract expressionism. I had a small exhibition once at the Korean Cultural Center. It wasn't much, but you loved it. Yes. She smiled sadly, remembering. I loved it. I love the feeling of creating something beautiful, of taking pain or joy or confusion and turning it into something tangible, something people could see and feel. And now I'm someone's wife. She took a bite of a croissant just to have something to do with her hands. That's what I am. That's all I am. That's bullshit. Camille looked up, startled by the bluntness. You're an artist who happens to be married, Jae-sung said firmly. Being someone's wife is something you do. It's not who you are. There's a difference. You don't understand. Ji-hoon, my husband, he saved me. When I was being deported, when I had nothing, he gave me a life here. A home. Papers. Everything. And now you owe him your entire existence? Jae-sung's voice was gentle but cutting. Being saved shouldn't feel like drowning, Camille. The words hit her like a physical blow. She felt tears spring to her eyes and blinked them back furiously. I should go, she said, starting to stand. Stay. His hand reached across the table, not touching her, but close enough that she could feel the heat of his skin. Please. I'm sorry. That was too harsh, too fast. Just stay. Finish your coffee. Talk to me about art or soul or anything else. No more heavy questions. I promise. Camille hesitated, then slowly sat back down. They talked for 2 hours. And for 2 hours, Camille felt like herself again. Not Park Ji-hoon's wife. Not an obligation or a burden. Just Camille. Jae-sung was an attentive listener. He asked follow-up questions, remembered details, engaged fully in every topic. When she talked about her art, his eyes lit up with genuine interest. Show me, he said suddenly. What? Your art. Do you have photos? Sketches? Anything? Camille pulled out her phone, hesitating. I haven't painted in years, since I married Ji-hoon. Why not? He doesn't like mess, doesn't like the smell of paint, doesn't see the point of it since I'm not selling anything. Jae-sung's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Camille scrolled through old photos on her phone, finding pictures of her work from Los Angeles. Abstract pieces in bold colors, blues and golds, reds and blacks, expressing emotions she couldn't put into words. She handed him the phone, watching his face as he scrolled through them. These are extraordinary, he said quietly. You have real talent, Camille. This shouldn't be buried. It's not buried. It's just on hold. On hold. He looked up at her. For how long? How long are you going to keep yourself on hold? She didn't have an answer. When she finally left the cafe, it was nearly noon. She floated home in a daze, her mind replaying the conversation, the way Jae-sung laughed, the way he listened like her words actually mattered. She walked into the apartment to find it exactly as she'd left it, empty, cold. A prison disguised as a palace. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jae-sung. When am I seeing you again? Camille stared at the message for a long time, her thumb hovering over the keyboard. Then she typed, I can't. I'm married. He didn't respond. That night, she knelt beside her bed and prayed. Dear God, please give me strength. Please help me be a good wife. Please help me love my husband in the way I'm supposed to. Please take away these feelings, this temptation. Please help me be faithful, please. She prayed until her knees ached and her voice was hoarse. But the next morning, when Jae-sung texted asking if she was free for coffee, she said yes. 2 weeks later, they kept meeting. Every Tuesday and Thursday, while Ji-hoon was at work, Camille would meet Jae-sung at Café Lumineux. Sometimes they talk for hours. Sometimes they just sit in comfortable silence while she sketched on napkins and he worked on his laptop. He never pushed, never made her uncomfortable, never even touched her beyond the occasional brush of fingers when passing her coffee. But the connection between them grew stronger with each meeting. Camille felt it like a living thing, wrapping around her heart, taking root in her chest. She knew it was wrong, knew she was playing with fire. Every night, she'd kneel beside her bed and pray for strength, for guidance, for God to help her stop. But every Tuesday and Thursday, she'd find herself at that cafe, drawn to Jae-sung like a moth to flame. At Earth's home, things deteriorated. Ji-hoon's late nights became overnights. His criticism became sharper, crueler. The perfume smell on his clothes became impossible to ignore. She'd found a receipt in his pocket from a jewelry store, a diamond bracelet she'd never received. She told herself not to ask, not to confront, not to make waves. But the suspicion gnawed at her, growing with each passing day. It happened on a Friday night. Ji-hoon came home at 7 for once, which was early for him. Camille had made dinner, beef bulgogi, japchae, kimchi jjigae, all his favorites. They ate in silence for the first 15 minutes. Then Camille gathered her courage. Ji-hoon, she said quietly, can I ask you something? He didn't look up from his phone. What? Are you seeing someone else? The question hung in the air. Ji-hoon slowly set down his phone and looked at her with cold eyes. What did you just ask me? You're never home anymore. And when you are, you barely look at me. And I've been finding things. Perfume on your clothes, receipts from restaurants. So now you're going through my things? His voice was dangerous. You're checking up on me like I'm a child? No, I work, Camille. I work to pay for this apartment. For your food, for your clothes, for your existence. If I want to take business associates to dinner, I will. If I want to work late, I will. I don't owe you an explanation for every second of my day. I'm not asking for an explanation. I'm asking if you're being faithful to me. Ji-hoon stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. Are you serious right now? You, who contributes nothing, who sits in this apartment all day doing nothing, you're questioning me? I'm your wife. I have a right to ask. You have no rights. He stepped closer, and Camille instinctively backed away. Everything you have, I gave you. This marriage, this life, your visa, all of it is because of me. You don't get to question me. You don't get to make demands. You exist at my pleasure, do you understand? So you are seeing someone. Camille felt tears streaming down her face. You are cheating on me. I'm not having this conversation. Ji-hoon grabbed his coat. I'm leaving. Don't call me. Don't text me. I'll be back when I'm back. He slammed the door behind him. Camille stood in the wreckage of dinner, shaking. She'd known. Deep down, she'd known. But hearing him not deny it, not even caring enough to deny it, broke something inside her. She cleaned up dinner mechanically, her mind numb. Then she went to the bedroom and lay down, staring at the ceiling. 2 days later, Sunday afternoon. Ji-hoon hadn't come home Friday night or Saturday night. Camille had spent the weekend alone, alternating between crying, praying, and staring into space. Sunday afternoon, she got a text from him. Coming home to shower and change clothes. Don't make a scene. She was sitting in the living room when he walked in at 3 p.m. He looked exhausted but satisfied. His hair was messy, his clothes wrinkled. "Where were you?" she asked quietly. "Working." He didn't even look at her as he headed toward the bedroom. "For 2 days? Without coming home once?" "I told you not to make a scene, Camille." "I'm not making a scene. I'm asking my husband where he's been for 2 days." Jihoon turned, his expression cold. "At a hotel. Working on a deal." "Happy?" "Which hotel?" "Why does it matter?" "Because I want to know where my husband was sleeping." "The Four Seasons. Room 1847. Want to call and verify? Want to check the credit card statement?" He laughed bitterly. "You're pathetic. Actually pathetic." He went into the bedroom and slammed the door. Camille sat there, shaking. She picked up her phone and, before she could second-guess herself, called the Four Seasons. "Hello, Four Seasons Seoul. How may I help you?" "Hi, I'm trying to reach my husband's room." "Park Ji-hoon? I believe he's in room 1847? A pause. "I'm sorry, Mom. We don't have a guest by that name registered currently. Would you like me to check if he's checked out recently?" "Yes, please." Another pause. "I'm showing a Park Ji-hoon who checked out this morning from room 1821. Would you like to leave a message?" "No, thank you." Camille ended the call, her hands shaking. Room 1821. Not 1847. He'd lied, hadn't even cared enough to lie convincingly. She went to their bedroom. Ji-hoon was in the shower. She could hear the water running. Without thinking, she grabbed his phone from the nightstand. She knew his passcode, his birthday, which he'd never bothered to change because he didn't think she'd ever look. She opened his messages. The first thread made her stomach drop. Yuna. Yesterday, 11:23 p.m. "Come back to bed, baby. It's cold without you." Yesterday, 11:25 p.m. Ji-hoon. "Give me 5 minutes. Just wrapping up some emails." Yesterday, 11:27 p.m. "Hurry, I'm wearing that thing you like." Saturday, 9:47 a.m. Ji-hoon. "Last night was incredible. You're incredible." There were photos, intimate photos. Photos of Ji-hoon with a beautiful Korean woman. Young, thin, everything Camille wasn't. Photos in bed, photos in restaurants, photos dating back months. The shower stopped running. Camille quickly put the phone back where she'd found it and left the room, her vision blurring with tears. She went to the kitchen, gripping the counter, trying to breathe. Ji-hoon emerged 15 minutes later, dressed in fresh clothes, hairstyled. "I'm going out," he said. "Don't wait up." "Who's Yuna?" The question came out before Camille could stop it. Ji-hoon froze, turned slowly. "What?" "Yuna." With the heart emoji. "Who is she?" His face went carefully blank. "A business associate." "Do you fuck all your business associates? Or just her?" The slap came out of nowhere, sharp and stinging across her cheek. Camille stumbled back, her hand flying to her face. "Don't you ever speak to me like that?" Ji-hoon said coldly. "You've lost your mind." "I saw your phone. I saw the messages. The photos." For a moment, something like panic flashed across his face. Then it was gone, replaced by cold rage. "You went through my phone? You're cheating on me." "So what if I am?" He stepped closer, backing her against the counter. "What are you going to do about it? Leave? Go where, Camille? Back to. You have no money, no job, no visa without me. You have nothing. You are nothing without me. I'm your wife." "You're my biggest mistake," he interrupted. "I thought you'd be grateful. Thought you'd at least be good company, but you're just a burden. Dead weight. I should have left you at that airport 4 years ago." Each word was a knife, carving away at what little self-worth she had left. "Get out," Camille whispered. "What?" "Get out!" She screamed it this time. "Get out of this apartment and go to her." "Go to Yuna! I don't want you here." Ji-hoon laughed. Actually laughed. "This is my apartment, Camille. My name on the lease. You want someone to leave? You leave. But you can't leave because you are mine." He walked out, leaving Camille collapsed on the kitchen floor, sobbing. Camille didn't know how long she sat on that floor. Hours, maybe. The sun set. The apartment grew dark. She didn't move to turn on lights. Eventually, she pulled herself up and went to the bathroom. Her face was swollen from crying. A red mark on her cheek where he'd slapped her. She looked at herself in the mirror and saw a stranger. She went to her phone and opened a new message to Jae Sung. "Can I see you?" The response was immediate. "Now?" "Of course. Where are you?" "Home, but I can come to you." "I'll send a car. 15 minutes. Camille didn't change, didn't fix her makeup, just grabbed her purse and waited by the door. When she arrived at Jae Sung's penthouse, he took one look at her face and pulled her inside. "What happened?" he demanded, his jaw tight with anger. "Who did this to you?" "My husband." Her voice was empty. "He hit me." "He hit you?" It wasn't a question. Jae Sung's hands clenched into fists. "Where is he? I'll kill him myself." No, please don't do anything." "Leave him," he said. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because without him, I have nothing. No visa, no money, nowhere to go." "He's right. I'm nothing without him." "That's not true." Jae Sung cupped her face gently, careful of the bruise. "You're an artist, a talented, intelligent, beautiful woman who's been systematically broken down by someone who never deserved you in the first place. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." His eyes were intense, burning. "You feel trapped. You feel like you have no options. But you do, Camille. You always have options." "What options? Go back to the United States? To Los Angeles? With nothing, where I was deported? Live on the streets? Or stay here?" Camille pulled back. "What?" "I'll help you. You don't have to stay in a marriage that's killing you, Camille. And I can make your husband pay with his blood." "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do that for me?" "Because He stopped, seeming to struggle with the words. "Because you deserve better than this. Because I can't stand the thought of him touching you or hurting you. Because over these past 2 weeks, you've become important to me. I barely know you." "Then let me change that." He leaned closer. "Let me show you how you should be treated. How you deserve to be treated." "I can't. I'm married. Even if my marriage is a joke, even if my husband is with someone else, I made vows. Vows he broke the moment he laid hands on you, the moment he took another woman to bed." The truth of it hit her like a wave. Jihoon had broken their vows first, had broken them repeatedly, had shattered them beyond repair. So why was she still clinging to them? "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared of what happens if I let go. If I let myself want something more. I'm scared too. You are becoming my weakness, and men like me do not need weaknesses." Jae Sung said quietly. "I haven't felt like this in years. Not since my ex-wife. And that ended badly. But with you," he touched her face gently. "With you, I think the fear is worth it." Camille looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who barely knew her, but had shown her more kindness in 2 weeks than her husband had in 4 years. This man who looked at her like she mattered, like she was worth something. "I should go home," she said, but made no move to stand. "You should stay," he countered, "at least until you've calmed down, until you've eaten something. You look like you haven't eaten all day." He was right. She hadn't. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll stay. Just for a little while." But a little while turned into hours. They ordered food, Thai, because Jae Sung remembered she'd mentioned loving it. They talked. They laughed. And for the first time in days, Camille felt the weight on her chest ease slightly. By the time she left, it was past midnight. That night, she prayed again. But this time, her prayer was different. "God, I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried to be faithful, tried to honor my vows, but he's destroying me. Please, show me the right path. Please help me find the strength to do what needs to be done, whatever that is." 3 nights later, it happened on a Saturday night. 3 nights after their last meeting. Jihoon came home at 11. Camille was already in bed, nearly asleep, when she felt him climb on top of her. Jihoon, she started, but he was already pulling at her nightgown. I don't care, he said coldly. You're my wife. Stop. I don't care what you want. His hands were rough, uncaring. You're my wife. This is your duty. It was over in minutes, rough, mechanical, devoid of any tenderness or connection. She lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling nothing but emptiness and violation. When he finished, he rolled off immediately. You're so cold, he muttered, his back to her. You just lie there like you're dead. No wonder I can't stand touching you. At least Yuna actually responds. The mention of her name, casual, cruel, made Camille's blood run cold. Get out of this bed, she said quietly. What? Get out of this bed. Louder now. Sleep somewhere else. I won't let you touch me again. Jihoon laughed. You won't let me? You don't have a choice. Get out or I'm leaving, right now. I'll walk out that door and never come back. Something in her voice must have convinced him she was serious. He got up, grabbing his pillow. Frigid bitch, he muttered, heading for the guest room. You're completely worthless in bed. Yuna's right about you. He slammed the door. Camille lay there shaking, feeling dirty and used and broken. She got up, went to the bathroom, and scrubbed herself raw in the shower, trying to wash away his touch. The 4th week. Camille hadn't heard from Jae-sung in 3 days, and she was surprised by how much she missed him. Missed their talks, missed feeling seen, missed feeling alive. She was washing dishes one evening when her phone buzzed. A message from Jae-sung. I need to see you. Her heart raced. When? Now. My place. I'll send a car. The penthouse was in Hanam-dong, all sleek lines and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. Camille's hands were shaking as she rode the elevator up. The car ride had felt both too long and too short. She'd spent it praying, but the words felt empty now, hollow. God, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Forgive me for wanting this. Forgive me for needing this. Jae-sung opened the door before she could knock. He looked different. Casual in a dark t-shirt and jeans, hair slightly messy, barefoot, more human. More dangerous. Come in, he said quietly. The apartment was beautiful, minimalist but warm, with actual art on the walls, actual personality in the space. Nothing like the sterile showroom she lived in. She saw paintings, originals, expensive ones, sculptures, books lining shelves, evidence of a person who actually lived here, who had interests and passions. Drink, he offered. I can't stay long. If Jihoon, he won't know. He's not even home, is he? The accuracy stung. How did you? Because you're here. Jae-sung poured 2 glasses of wine, handed her one. If your husband was waiting for you, if there was any chance he'd notice you were gone, you wouldn't have come. He was right. Jihoon had texted 2 hours ago saying he wouldn't be home. Again. With her. With Yuna. Camille took the wine but didn't drink, setting it on the coffee table. Why did you ask me here? Because I'm tired of pretending. He set his glass down, walked closer. I'm tired of sitting in that cafe, keeping my distance, acting like I don't want to touch you every second we're together. Her breath caught. Jae-sung, I can't stop thinking about you, he continued, his voice low and intense. I can't stop wondering what it would feel like to hold you, to kiss you, to make you feel the way you deserve to feel. Like you're wanted, like you're cherished, like you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Stop. Tears were already streaming down her face. Please stop. Why? Because it's wrong? Because you're married? He stepped closer, so close she could feel the heat radiating from his body. Your husband hits you, Camille. He cheats on you. That's abuse. I'm scared. I can't keep seeing you. The words came out in a rush. I can't keep doing this, meeting you, talking to you, feeling things I have no right to feel. I'm scared. Scared of what I'm feeling, what I'm becoming. What are you feeling? He was close now, so close she could feel the heat radiating from his body. That I'm alive when I'm with you. Her voice broke, and that terrifies me. Why? Because I've never felt this before. Tears were streaming down her face now. Not even with my husband, not even once. Never in my life have I felt so seen, so valued, so... Jae-sung reached up slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he cupped her face in his hands, wiping away her tears with his thumbs. Then feel it, he whispered. Stop being afraid. Just feel. He kissed her. And God help her. She kissed him back. It was nothing like Ji-hoon's cold, perfunctory kisses. This was heat and hunger and desperation. This was 4 years of loneliness pouring out of her, meeting 4 weeks of wanting from him. His lips were soft but demanding, his hands gentle but firm as they held her face, her waist, her body against his. She felt everything, the hardness of his chest against hers, the way his heart pounded in sync with hers, the taste of wine on his lips, the scent of his cologne mixed with something uniquely him. His hands moved to her waist, pulling her closer. Her fingers tangled in his hair, softer than she'd imagined. The kiss deepened, intensified, until she could barely breathe, barely think, barely remember why this was wrong. They stumbled toward the bedroom, hands everywhere, clothes coming undone. She felt his fingers on the zipper of her dress, felt the fabric sliding down her shoulders, felt his mouth on her neck, her collarbone, the space between her breasts, and stopped. Wait. She pulled away, breathing hard, tears streaming. I can't. Camille, I want to. She was sobbing now, full body sobs shaking her. God, I want to. I want you so much it hurts. But I can't. I can't do the same thing I'm accusing my husband of. It makes me just like him. Even though he's broken his 1,000 times. Even though this marriage is dead. I can't be that person. It's okay. Jae-sung stepped back immediately, giving her space, his own breathing ragged. He ran a hand through his disheveled hair. It's okay. I understand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She was already fixing her dress, grabbing her purse with shaking hands. I shouldn't have come. I shouldn't have kissed you. I'm sorry. Don't apologize for feeling something real. I have to go. She was at the door now, hand on the handle. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She ran. Camille sat in the back of the car, crying so hard she could barely breathe. The driver said nothing, just drove, giving her privacy in her breakdown. What had she done? What had she almost done? She'd kissed another man. She'd wanted another man. She'd been ready, so ready, to betray her husband in the worst possible way, to pay him back. But would it make her any different? And the most terrifying part? She'd wanted it. She'd wanted Jae-sung with an intensity that shook her to her core. Had wanted him to touch her, to make love to her, to show her what it felt like to be truly desired. By the time she got home, her tears had dried, but the shame remained. The apartment was dark, empty. Ji-hoon wasn't home, was probably with Yoona, doing to her what Camille had almost let Jae-sung do. She walked into the empty apartment and went straight to the bathroom, washing her face, scrubbing away Jae-sung's scent, his touch, his kiss. She brushed her teeth 3 times, trying to erase the memory of his lips on hers. Then she fell to her knees beside the bed and prayed. She prayed for forgiveness. She prayed for strength. She prayed for God to help her fix her marriage, to make her love her husband again, to make this feeling for Jae-sung go away. That night, she received a text from Ji-hoon. I'm sorry, my love. We'll fix this. I'll be home tomorrow. I'll surprise you. She was shocked. It was like God finally answered her prayers. When she finally climbed into bed, she made a decision. She would never see Kwon. Jae-sung again. She would block his number, delete his messages, pretend these last 4 weeks never happened. She would focus on Ji-hoon. She would try harder, be better, be the wife he needed. Tomorrow was their anniversary, 3 years married. She would make Ji-hoon remember why he'd married her. She would seduce him, connect with him, make him see her again. She would save this marriage. She had to. Because if she couldn't save it, what had the last 4 years been for? What had she sacrificed her dreams for? What had she given up everything for? It had to mean something. It had to. Camille woke up early, filled with nervous determination. Today would be different. Today would be the turning point. She spent the morning shopping, fresh ingredients for galbi, Ji-hoon's favorite. She went to 3 different markets to get everything perfect. She bought candles, flowers, a new tablecloth. She even went to a boutique and bought a dress. Fitted, red, more revealing than anything she'd worn in months. The saleswoman had smiled at her. Special occasion? Anniversary, Camille had said, and the word felt heavy in her mouth. 3 years, she'd added. 3 years of trying. 3 years of failing. Back at the apartment, she cleaned everything until it sparkled. She set the table beautifully, flowers in the center, good china that they'd received as wedding gifts and never used, cloth napkins she'd ironed carefully. She spent 2 hours cooking, making sure everything was perfect. Galbi marinated exactly how he liked it. Japchae with just the right amount of sesame oil. Kimchi jjigae with the perfect level of spice. By 5 p.m., the galbi was ready. By 6, she'd showered and done her makeup. Subtle but pretty, making her eyes look bigger, her skin glow. She put on the red dress and studied herself in the mirror. She looked good. She looked alive. Ji-hoon would notice. He had to notice. She took a picture of herself and almost sent it to Jae-sung before she remembered. She'd promised herself she'd stop. No more Jae-sung. No more temptation. She deleted his number from her phone, deleted their message thread, erased the evidence of the last 4 weeks. Fresh start. Today was a fresh start. At 6:30, she lit the candles and waited. 7 p.m. He wasn't home. She checked her phone. No new messages from him. 7:30. The candles were burning low. She texted, "Dinner's ready. When will you be home?" 8 p.m. The food was getting cold. She checked her phone again. Nothing. She reheated the food, keeping it warm in the oven. 8:30. She called. It went straight to voicemail. 9 p.m. Finally, her phone buzzed. She grabbed it eagerly. "My love, please don't wait up. Won't be home tonight. Important meeting." That was it. No mention of their anniversary. No acknowledgement of the date. No apology for missing dinner. Nothing. Camille stared at the message, reading it over and over as if the words would change. They didn't. She looked down at herself, at the red dress she'd bought to seduce her husband, at the makeup she'd carefully applied, at the manicure she'd gotten that morning. 3 years. Today marked 3 years of marriage. And he'd forgotten, or remembered and didn't care. And he promised he would be home to fix things. She looked at the dining room, at the flowers, the candles melted down to stubs, the perfect meal she'd spent hours preparing, now cold and congealed. All of it for nothing. Something inside her cracked. She walked to the table and picked up her plate, looked at it for a moment, at the food she'd cooked with such care, such hope, then threw it against the wall. The crash was satisfying, liberating. She threw another, and another. Plates shattered. Glass broke. Food splattered across the pristine white walls. galbi and japchae, and kimchi jjigae mixing into an abstract painting of her broken marriage. She overturned the table. It crashed to the floor with a satisfying bang. She ripped the flowers from their vase and scattered them across the floor, grinding them under her heels, blew out the candles and threw them, ripped down the decorations. When there was nothing left to destroy, she stood in the wreckage, breathing hard, her hands bleeding from where she'd cut them on broken glass. Today, on their anniversary, he'd chosen to be with Yuna instead of her. Probably the text was just to mock her. Camille looked at herself in the hallway mirror. Red dress, wrinkled and stained with food, makeup ruined from crying, hands bleeding, hair wild. 3 years ago, Park Ji-hoon had saved her, had given her a life, a home, a visa, a name, and in return, she'd given him everything. Her art, her dreams, her dignity, herself, and it still wasn't enough. It would never be enough, because he didn't want a wife. He wanted a possession, a trophy he could show off and put back on the shelf when he was done. A convenient cover for his real relationship. And she'd let him. For 3 years, she'd let him. She pulled out her phone with shaking, bloody hands. She deleted Jae-sung's number, but she remembered it. Had memorized it without meaning to. Her finger hovered over the keypad. This was wrong. This was betrayal. This was everything she'd been taught was sinful and shameful. But God, she was so tired of being good, so tired of being grateful, so tired of being invisible, so tired of praying for a marriage that was already dead. The drive to Hanam-dong felt both endless and too short. She watched couples walking hand in hand, families having dinner at restaurants, normal people living normal lives. She thought she could have that, thought Ji-hoon had offered her that. She'd been so naive. The elevator ride up to his penthouse made her stomach churn. What was she doing? What was she about to do? She knew exactly what she was about to do. The doors opened. Jae-sung was waiting. He took one look at her, the wrinkled, stained dress, the ruined makeup, the blood on her hands, the devastation in her eyes. "Make me feel alive," she whispered. "Please, I need to feel something other than this. Just once. Just tonight. Camille, please." Her voice broke completely now, tears streaming down her face. "Please make me feel alive. Just once. Please." Hold up. Did Camille just cross the line? Is she about to betray her vows? Or has Ji-hoon already destroyed this marriage beyond repair? And here's the real question. What happens when Jae-sung finds out his niece, Yuna, is Ji-hoon's mistress? What happens when Ji-hoon discovers the man his mistress wants to introduce him to is the same man his wife has been meeting in secret? This is about to explode. If you're screaming right now, if your heart is racing, if you absolutely need to know what happens next, smash that subscribe button because part 2 is dropping soon and you do not want to miss it. Should Camille go through with it? Should she walk away? Is Jae-sung, the Mafia lord, hiding something? And tell me, Team Jae-sung or Team Ji-hoon? Let's fight about it in the comments. Subscribe. Now, part 2 is coming and it's going to change everything. Do not forget to turn on your notifications. Do you want part 2 now?